All right. Hey, it's Marshall Atkinson. Welcome back for another episode of the best t-shirt that I ever printed. And I'm so happy to have my good friend Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants here to share his story. So Lon, how are you today?
I'm awesome, Marshall. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what is your best t-shirt you ever printed. So give us the scoop.
Well, after I've been doing this as long as I have, I gave a little thought to it. I said, well, I wonder if I could remember the very first shirt that I pulled a squeegee and I couldn't come up with it. Maybe the first time I operated an automatic, couldn't really come up with it. Then I thought, a lot of folks have seen us demo at trade shows, and we've done a number of real fun, fairly complicated images at speed with some process and special effects and trying to show off equipment and inks and our skill set. And those didn't really resonate all that much either. They're great shirts, and I love every one of them, and I'm proud of our staff for putting them together. But as I started kind of thinking about it and watching your first few episodes, it needed to be more important. And especially in the times we're kind of going through right now, I kind of looked back and said, what have I done that's important or that we've been a part of? And I harken back 20 something years ago to the first school shooting that got a bunch of PR here in the States, and that was Columbine. The whole community here in the Denver area was pretty shook, and we kind of got together as a staff and our team, and it's kind of that classic, what can we do? So we designed a Columbine we'll never forget type of piece, and it started out as I don't know, let's call all our friends and see who might want one. The idea was, I think we sold them for $10, and all the proceeds went to the victims of Columbine. And we started out onesie twosies, and I'll take one, I'll take two, and we had some other customers that happened to be a radio station, local radio station here, that started kind of advertising and telling folks that what we were trying to do. And then, and it's kind of a weird place because you want to help, but you don't want people to think you're trying to make money. You're not really trying to make money, but you're trying to survive, and you're trying to, that balance is always a hard thing to strike. But we were so green and we had no idea what we were doing. And I think the rawness and our ability to step back and go, we don't know, we just are guessing. And, if you wanted to help, we would certainly embrace that. And from there, we were able to get a grocery store chain to step up and say, we'll take 50, we'll take 100, so what started out as setting up and running a dozen and taking it down and putting it back up and running 24 and taking it back down and putting it back up and running a few hundred, we were able to raise $350,000 in a couple of weeks based on that model, and kind of the community all sort of embracing the idea. And a couple of years later, the towers came down on 9/11, and we felt like we had already created our own internal model. So while business had fallen to nothing for everybody around town, everybody around the country, as we were all trying to grasp what was going on, we already had the model put in place, and same radio station, same grocery store chain. And the Columbine incident was fresh enough that everybody said, yeah. We mobilized our entire staff, worked. It was actually like hot market printing. Within the weekend after the towers came down, we had 60,000 shirts in stores around the state of Colorado. And we're able to raise $1 million within that time frame just by selling a $10 retail shirt. And I think it was the same formula, 7 and 3. It helped us survive, but it also raised a ton of money for the victims of 9/11. The frustrating part, and what probably put me back to those models and those shirts being the best thing I ever printed, it was simple eagle flag, United we stand, we'll never forget kind of stuff. And those models work, and it really makes me think about what everybody has done with the Here for Good and the Inksoft and Printavo fundraiser approaches. I think the industry, I'll bet, has raised millions of dollars to save their own butts, but also save some local businesses. And that darn model works every time. Buy a $10 t-shirt, a $20 t-shirt. Not only do you get a cool t-shirt, but the proceeds go to a good cause, whatever that cause might be. And it works for a small-time little Class D football team all the way to, the victims of 9/11. So I think it's harder to be as unified and as straightforward and as simple as that was, because I know that millions of dollars were raised by our industry for the victims of 9/11. But this situation is everybody's raising hundreds and thousands. So it's more difficult to wrap your arms around a singular situation with politics and not only the COVID, but the civil unrest and the cities burning and half the landscapes burning. It's a scary, scary time. So that's what made me think about that kind of situation as being the best thing we ever printed.
Oh, that's so interesting. And thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I know from, my career and everything that I've done is that t-shirts are personal to people. I mean, it's our favorite band, it's our favorite team, it's our favorite whatever, right? And then when times are tough, it's easy to translate that own personal story, your viewpoint, onto a shirt and use that as a vehicle for change, whether that's civil change or to change, raise money for breast cancer, fight breast cancer or something, And so over the years, I've done plenty of that stuff. After the Boston Marathon bombing, I was part of the whole Boston Strong t-shirt thing when I worked for Visual Impressions using the Ink to the People platform. And that was a similar thing. And it was just, it was insane. And I've done lots of hot market stuff, and I know you have as well. And it's you might have one TV crew outside to film, but when you have 6 camera trucks in the parking lot wanting to come in and film, and there's something crazy going on.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things about being, American or a human being for that matter, is our wanting to help other people. That really makes me feel good, that I'm part of this industry, because we do that. We show up.
Yep. It's interesting too, how your crew mobilizes and that one cause that suddenly this is important. Less people are calling in sick, and they're willing to put in the overtime and willing to go through the night. And, when you do hot market for a sports team or whatever, it's kind of cool your team just won, but that wears off about 4 hours in, and everybody's tired and they want to go home. And how are we going to do this? Do I have to really work 12 hours? When you do something important, it just seems like the crew wants to be here. You can't get people to go home and take a break. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, because we're not robots. We have a heart, we have souls, we have a mind. And I think that was what really motivates people when it comes down to it.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, cool. So anybody that's interested in maybe doing something like this, before we go, can you share one tip that you learned along the way that could make a difference for somebody?
If I learned anything over the 30 plus years, it's about people. It's about who you know, but not so much because you need to know them, but because you want to know them. And it goes from your staff and your team all the way to the partners that you create, whether it's dealers and manufacturers, to other friends in the business. You don't realize how maybe small we are or how much of a family we really are until we're in the midst of a pandemic and civil unrest. And it does feel like everybody's trying to help each other out, even at the smallest level. And I think embrace those relationships and embrace the people, because it's all about the people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lon. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way that they can do that?
You can reach me at lon@graphicelephants.com, or you can find us on social media under Graphic Elephants or my name. So look forward to seeing and meeting folks, even if it's virtually.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Lon. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Marshall. Thanks for doing this. It's important.
Thanks for watching this episode of the best t-shirt I ever printed. For more content like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.